Welcome or welcome back to the podcast. This is Wellness as a Way of Life. Really excited for this unique series called Fall in Love with Cacao. I reached out to my friends at a project called Jangala here in Chiapas. I'm, of course, probably mispronouncing slightly, but it is a fine chocolate made from bean to bar using origin cacao, made in Chiapas, Mexico. They contribute to the conservation of Mexican ecosystems by making and sharing chocolate with Mexican cacao that comes from diversified and sustainable agriculture. We're going to be really getting into the ins and outs of what that all means with Ali Forero. She is a women's health researcher, a fourth generation of cacao farmers working on her master's in rural development. She is weaving all of these aspects into everything she shares with us and her work with Jangala. She's going to enlighten you deeply on the breadth of work it requires to bring cacao and quality cacao, sustainable, where there's a mutual respect not only for the ecosystems but the families producing the cacao, all the way to the client who is enjoying the benefits. The second chapter of this little mini-series will talk more specifically about the health benefits. Women in particular need to know about the depths of the health benefits offered or available in cacao. I know that I've really enjoyed including it into my wellness toolkit. And it's just a nice alternative to coffee, and to understand why it's so important to truly invest in quality cacao. So let's dive in. Welcome to Season 5 of the Wellness as a Way of Life podcast, the less is more source of wellness, knowledge, wisdom, and inspiration for female leaders and founders. Here, we teach you why not all wellness trends are for you, how to figure out which ones are, and how to best adapt them for your own personal wellness toolbox. Ultimately, we need to know how to integrate your wellness practices so fully that they become to feel like brushing your teeth, a foundational part of who you are and not a check mark on your to-do list. I'm your host, Megan Swan, creator of the Wellness as a Way of Life community and the Sustainable Integrated Wellness Approach. I have more than a decade of experience in the wellness industry and on my own personal journey, learning how to tune into and trust my intuition and drown out all the noise. As a certified health coach, detoxification expert, plant-based chef, yoga teacher, and consultant, I will help you distill down the information overload and feel more confident and at ease in your own skin. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so thrilled to have a special guest today, Ali. She is an expert in women's health. She's passionate about this project. She's going to tell us all about this. She's involved in here in the Chiapaneca jungle, halanga, cacao, chocolate, all the things. Where do you want to start? And why don't we start with how you started working with this project?
Well, thank you, Megan, for having me. Jangala is a project I'm collaborating with. My interest started back in my family because my family grew cacao for several generations. I'm the fourth generation researching and connecting with this plant. I'm also passionate about women's health, natural gynecology, and I found cacao is the plant for female hormone balance. So that's very much how I got involved, as well as when I arrived to San Cristobal, got to know this project at the beginning just as a customer, and I just fell in love with the flavor and the view, especially in terms of rural development, which is what my master is on. Rural development, innovation through cacao for health, and from the perspective of One Health. So perhaps that's a way to introduce how I started this project.
Beautiful. So can you tell us a little bit more Like, how would you define this project if you're telling someone like what you do and what it produces exactly? Like, what are the sorts of things that you describe and focus on?
Well, I would describe it as we are a Mexican project focused on creating a cacao regenerative culture, fine flavor cacao regenerative culture. So we do so many things. I would love to share what we do in regards of education, services, products. Is very wide. For something I could share, we do is to design agroforestry systems with cacao farmers. And we also do fermentation workshops. We provide fermentation workshops to cacao farmers in this wish to create this fine flavor cacao culture, since even though Mexico is very well known for its cacao, only 15% of the cacao in Mexico is fermented. And it's a whole universe. I keep discovering about the flavors and the aroma and how the aroma speaks on the origin. We work with single origin cacao, meaning we don't mix batches. We don't mix them. We work with one single origin, and we focus on shining the aroma of every origin. So every origin has its personality, and is part of what we do with Jangala. So we produce fine flavor cacao, we transform it into fine chocolate bars, drinking chocolate as well. We also work with the fruits from the agroforestry system that we integrate them to the bars, integrate them to the drinking chocolate. So yeah, we work as well with vanilla, with pataste, with achiote. We're very passionate about local products, working with local crops such as achiote, vanilla, pataste, also the part of the pre-Hispanic cuisine that is being lost over the years. So we also in this pursuit to create this culture of including as well what all these fruits we used to use in the past, and perhaps in modern days we have forgot about them.
I love that you use spices, and yeah, well, let's talk a little bit more about the harmonies in a moment. But first, can you kind of define terms, like for somebody who's already passionate about chocolate, but they've maybe never experienced or even have like sort of a visual of what a cacao tree looks like. Like one of the things that's really important to me in terms of holistic wellness is less is more, quality over quantity, and really being more connected and aware to not only like how something's affecting you in terms of mind, body, and spirit, but also how, like, where's this thing coming from? Like, what's the history and what's the path that it takes to get to your organism, right? And to like become a part of your journey. So can you just, I guess, first maybe define like how you make chocolate differently than some sort of more mainstream chocolate or hot cocoa?
This topic you're touching is very interesting because you're touching a topic of traceability. And traceability for us is very important because traceability talks to us about the origin, and to have an origin that's ethically sourced, despite from the industrial way in which cacao is sourced, in a way in which farmers are exploited. So we are changing the way of approaching in which we do something that is called direct trading. So there is no one in between us as chocolatiers and the farmers who are the producers. So there are this balanced relationship. There is this relationship built in reciprocity and not in exploitation, which is the way it has worked for many years in the chocolate industry. And that plays a very important role, not only for the environmental dimension, but also the social dimension, the economic dimension. It makes it more sustainable over time. So we also are sure that the way the producing cacao in the agroforestry systems, we have design with them. And we also know how their living conditions are. We also take steps to what we believe it could be a good contribution for their lives, but not from a point of view of imposing something, but in the process of relating. For instance, we have done just workshops for the children, we go there directly. This is very important that we directly go there to source the cacao, spend time with the farmers, and return to San Cristobal de las Casas, which is where we have the transformation, the factory place. And this is radically different how the industry of chocolate works worldwide, which is based on slavery, exploitation not only of farmers, but also of nature, wiping out jungles to have monocrops. So we do it with regenerative agricultural practices, agroforestry, agroecology, and with these tools of social innovation, rural development innovation, we keep working on. It's a long-term process.
Wow. Yeah. So it's like next level, right? Of delicious, like there's absolutely no, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but it's in its simplicity, it's just, what's better for me is better for everyone, is better for the planet, etc. It's just like the ripple effect that goes either way.
Yeah,
So
and one
for
of these
you,
ripple effects is the flavor, as you mentioned. Because of the biodiversity, it makes the cacao richer in flavor. So it does have this ripple effect as well in this. It can feel it in your mouth. This is delicious because this is diverse in flavor and aroma. And we do believe cacao as a plant of receptivity, and it receives everything that, like, all the process matters. Every single stage of the process matters. And we try to make it ethically in every step.
I love that. And of course, your chocolate is just absolutely delicious. Is there a decision or a process that decides, what aspect of the cacao, the bean, goes towards making hot chocolate powder, or I think it's like raw cacao versus the actual chocolate? Or is there on some level sort of a similar product that everything's being sourced from?
Yeah, it's very much similar. What, like, the key point is the point of fermentation. And fermentation is a craft, it's an art that takes so many years to master. I don't know if you have heard how it works with these wooden boxes. They put the cacao with the mucílago, which is the white pulp full in fructose. They put it in these wooden boxes and let it ferment for about 1 week. And pH and temperature and other factors are need to take care of in order to have a good fermentation process. And the fermentation process is what helps to, in a way, to decode what intrinsically the bean already has, the complexity of the aroma. So the fermentation decodes this beautiful aroma it has from the soil, has from the ecological relationships with nature, and then we can make them shine in the roasting process afterwards. And then after the roasting process, it can go into a chocolate bar or a drinking chocolate. And what changes is the time of grinding and the quality of grinding, the type of grinding we would do specifically to the chocolate. And something very important is that we don't separate cacao butter from the cacao solids, the cacao powder, meaning it's a full food. It has the whole spectrum of the nutrients, different from industrial chocolate, in which they take away the cacao butter and they introduce vegetable oils. And of course, the quality, like the nutritional value is not the same, as well as they introduce a lot of sugar, milk, and other things that I like what you say, right? Just remind me of the simplicity, like the less ingredients, the best. So our products are cacao, only cacao, and perhaps a little bit percentage of raw sugar cane from Chiapas, locally sourced from agroforestry system, and perhaps other ingredients that also have a very beautiful origin.
Yeah. So can you give us a little bit more of a timeline? Like I don't think most people understand that cacao needs to be fermented. I know that I didn't understand that. I knew that that was a process that existed, but I don't think I understood that all cacao goes through that in order to be cacao. So the time that it's in the box, for example, is a few days, is a week. Is there like a big range of this process depending on where in the world? Or from what I understand, cacao is sourced in similar places that coffee tends to flourish. And, it's not in all climates.
Yeah, cacao comes from the jungle. That's why we call our project Jangala, which is the word that gives birth to this word jungle. It's a jungle plant. And about the time frame, I could share, well, now we're in this present moment, February 2024, is starting the harvesting season. In the harvesting season, cacao is come in a pod, and the pod is open. There are the seeds inside, and the seeds have this beautiful natural technology that they are surrounded by the mucílago, the pulp. And they put it then in these wooden boxes for about 7 days. It depends on the type of fermentation the farmers want to give to it. And it's afterwards, after this fermentation process, 7 days, then they let them dry. We took them to San Cristobal, and then we do the process of transformation from cacao to fine flavored chocolate, fermented cacao to fine flavored chocolate. And it's when it takes all these possibilities of becoming a chocolate bar, a drinking chocolate, or the cacao nibs, which is just the fermented cacao, this roasting process, and then you have your cacao nibs.
Wow. So it's such a journey.
Yes.
And that's just the final stage, right?
Yeah, but if we take the full journey from the very, very beginning, we would start talking about designing agroforestry systems. That would be the first, and is super beautiful because something I cherish about our project is the relationship we build while we design something and commit for a long-term vision, such as an agroforestry system. It needs maintenance, it needs a lot of effort and work in the field. So the journey starts even before.
Mm-hmm. Can you just, to wrap up this portion where we're talking about the project specifically, I was just going to ask you about like a longer term vision of what you see, and just so people know, you do small batch, you can order online. Yeah, and there might be other exciting things on the horizon. I don't know how much you want to let us know specific around the project, the longer vision.
Yeah, in the longer vision, we want to continue doing research that is very much needed. There is not much research happening here in Mexico about cacao, even though it's coming from this area of the world, same as in Colombia. I'm from Colombia. And there is not much research there. I mean, also in the terms of social research, and cacao is with all this potential for creating a regenerative culture that is very much needed nowadays in the planet, also in our context, in our Latin American context. So our mission is to create more research, education, to spread this type of vision and this type of model. We see it working. We see how much it benefits the families and the places we work with. So we like to spread this knowledge to other places. Personally, my family growing cacao there in Colombia, I would love to also extend Hangala there and have this from the very base of society. We have this vision of transformation of society, social justice, environmental justice, and we believe we can do it through education, innovation, research, and of course our products is the vehicle, because then is how we can continue. It's like the fuel, then to continue and also to share all this beauty, all this health from the cacao to people in the cities as well that live in a very different context, not in the jungle, in a very different context, and also how we can be this bridge between the rural world and the urban world. So that's a little bit of how we envision the project for the long term.
I love that image of the bridge. I think that's a perfect place to wrap up this little first chapter in this Fall in Love with Cacao series that we're doing, and we'll jump back in here a few to focus on the health benefits for women. I'm excited for that conversation as well. Hey there, one last thing I wanted to share with you. If you're enjoying this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you could rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. It really does help us grow the show, and this being so important to me to get this message out to more women to help them optimize their wellness and ultimately their lives. This is my mission, and I would greatly appreciate it if you could support the podcast by rating and reviewing. Thanks in advance. Have a good one.